Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest installment in Applied Marketing Sciences Insights for Innovation Coffee Break webinar series. Today's presentation is called Finding the Ahas, Uncovering Actionable Qualitative Insights. My name is Megan Foley, and I'm a Senior Analyst at Applied Marketing Science, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. Our presenter today is Andrea Ruttenberg, a Senior Manager at AMS. Andrea has worked on qualitative research projects for more than 10 years, and she leads AMS's internal interviewer training. During her time at AMS, she has managed many qualitative projects on a range of topics, including industrial equipment, medical devices, health and wellness, and software and technology. Welcome, Andrea.
Thanks, Megan.
We call our series Coffee Break Webinars because the purpose of each webinar is to provide a short presentation highlighting key topics related to innovation and insights. These presentations are not comprehensive, but instead touch upon key points we believe are important to successful innovation. Just so everyone knows, all microphones except ours are on mute to minimize noise so everyone can hear, but we will take questions at the end, and I'd encourage you to submit them by typing in the chat window on the right side of your screen. And with that, I'll turn it over to Andrea.
Great, thanks, Megan. So as the title suggests, today's webinar focuses on qualitative research best practices for finding the ahas in your qualitative research. By the end of the webinar, you'll have a clear understanding of the steps you should take to ensure you're collecting high-quality, actionable insights. This webinar will cover several topics. First, I'll provide a brief refresher on qualitative research. I'll explain what qualitative research is, how it's different from quantitative research, and when you should use it. Next, I'll discuss 5 ways to ensure you're running a good qualitative research project. In particular, I'll talk about defining the scope of your project, putting together a sample plan, developing a discussion guide, and I'll also talk about how to interview respondents. Then I'll discuss how to analyze your qualitative data using our voice of the customer techniques. Finally, I'll be sure to leave time, like Meg said, for your questions at the end. We'll start by asking a basic question. What is qualitative research and how does it differ from quantitative research? We use qualitative research when we want to understand how and why people think, believe, or act the way they do. Qualitative research is open-ended, so respondents can answer our questions any way they want. The goal of qualitative research is to deeply understand the perspective of a few people. In contrast, we use quantitative research when we want to understand what or how often people do things. Quantitative research is closed-ended. Respondents must choose among a set of pre-written answer options. Quantitative research typically looks at frequencies or percentages, or it measures whether a relationship between 2 or more variables is statistically significant. Quantitative sample sizes are typically much larger than qualitative samples, often into the hundreds. So how do qualitative questions differ from quantitative ones? A qualitative question is open-ended, like I said, and it might ask, what do you like best about our product? And what do you like least? And why do you say that? A quantitative question might be, on a scale from 0 to 10, how satisfied are you with our product? Both types of questions are useful, but we generally use qualitative research when we're first starting a market research engagement, when we want to understand as much as possible about a product or service. Quantitative research comes later, when we want to test hypotheses or measure how people perceive a product or service. At AMS, we typically use both qualitative and quantitative methods using our voice of the customer methodology. First, though, as I just said, we typically start with qualitative research, and then we'll move into quantitative research. So to get more specific about our method, phase 1 starts with one-on-one qualitative interviews. These interviews are guided conversations, typically between 2 people, both the respondent and the interviewer, that help us understand the customer's needs and explore in detail why customers think, feel, or behave the way they do. We audio record each interview and then have it transcribed verbatim so that we can review the transcripts and highlight them for needs. We'll talk about this more toward the end of our webinar. We typically end up with between 500 and 1,000 needs depending on the project, way too many to make sense of. So we winnow the needs down into something more manageable, usually 80 to 100, by removing duplicates and needs that are out of scope. In phase 2, we affinitize or bucket the needs into groups that go together. These become our secondary needs and number around 25 or 30. We work closely with our clients during this phase to make sure they agree with our categories, and we often confirm our affinitization with a few respondents as well. In phase 3, we use quantitative research to prioritize our secondary needs based on their importance and current performance in the marketplace. Ultimately, we provide our clients with clear focus area needs, hidden opportunities, minimum requirements, and needs that are overemphasized.